Okay, this is the basic screen. This is what you get when you're not questing. It's kind of a lot of real estate available. Um, ElvUI will allow you to customize and resize everything. Let me see, when you target something there, my action bars pop up. This is just where I have mine set. You can move them, you can resize them, you can change the number of buttons in each bar, you can and that can all be done through the ElvUI interface. You see action bars, bags, buffs, a whole slew of customizable options here. But you can go to toggle anchors, and this opens up a grid screen that lets you drag items around wherever you want to put them. You can put them wherever you want. You can resize them. You can change the fonts. You can do pretty much anything that you want to do with them, which reminds me, I want to move my boss frames here. And then you can lock the screen. Also in ElvUI there are info panels, and these info panels are customizable. You can choose different things to be displayed in these info panels. You can display character stats like haste, crit, whatever. I put my spec here, so I can click on spec and change my spec with a click. My loot specialization, I can do the same. Lets me choose the desired loot spec. This shows my durability of my armor, my gear. This is my item level. It shows the average item level equipped and the average item level in your bags. This is where I keep my player buffs. And on the other side here we have I have my my rep bar and my artifact bar, and again these are totally customizable. They can be moved and resized however you like. And I have it to display frames per second, the time. You mouse over your currency and it pops up with a good breakdown, all the characters you have and this individual character's resources. Up here I can mouse over friends and shows all my friends. It shows the guild. So yeah, that's the basic gist of ElvUI. Okay, as you can see here, we get this groovy little AFK screen. Shows you how long you've been away, who you are within the guild, the day, the time. If you get any whispers while you're away, they will appear up here in the upper left. So yeah, let's take a little closer look at some of the things that you can do with your ElvUI. Again, when you're not doing anything, if you're just questing around, you get pretty free screen. Even the chat box will disappear after a while if nothing happens. But when you target something, your action bars will pop up automatically. And again, this is just how I have mine set. I set mine here because I like to put my raid frames. I'll show you those now. My raid frames, this is just an example. You can click on display frames. We'll give you an example so that you can see what's going on. I like mine here. I put my action bars up top, and I keep my raid frames down here. And as you can see, it shows everybody their role, tank, DPS, heals, and I have it set to display any raid-wide buffs, debuffs rather. But again, this is completely customizable. You can move it. You can move it wherever you want. You can resize it. You can make it grow up, down, left to right, however you like. And the same with your action bars. For example, I can change the number of buttons. Oops, different bar. Let's see here. We want bar 1. I can change the number of buttons. Oh, okay, and the number per row. There you go. I can move them I can stack them up. You know, you can customize it however you like. You can so you can change the button size, where they're placed, the whole 9 yards. You just toggle anchors and you move it wherever you want. Doesn't matter. Put it however you like. Totally up to you. And you can see from this screen here, I'll take a minute to talk about this. This is your toggle anchor screens, which lets you move everything around. That annoying ass talking head frame where the NPCs do their little dialogue. This is where I keep my main tank frames. Both tanks their nameplates will appear here, and anything they have targeted will appear immediately to the right of that. If you set your focus on a healer or whoever you set it on, it will appear in the focus frame. And again, these can be moved. You can move them wherever you want. You can resize them. You can do pretty much whatever you want. This is just how I have mine set by default for my tank. Boss frames, these are raid boss encounters. Whenever you start an encounter with a raid boss, their nameplates will appear here. And again, you can put it wherever you want. I like mine right here. This lets me see the nameplates of the boss, and any ads that spawn will also appear here. So I don't have to, mouse around and try to target anything. I can just come over here and click on, the boss or whichever ad or whatever, and automatically target that person. Another good thing is that you don't have to switch targets when you're targeting something. When you want to cast an ability, say for example I want to cast a res on somebody, which I have my battle res, you just mouse over the nameplate, and you can see I've activated my res ability. You just mouse over the nameplate, and if they are within range, this little hand icon will turn blue. And another reason why I like to have my nameplates here is that it lets me see real quick who has aggro. Anybody that has aggro, their nameplate will be highlighted in red. So yeah, that's and again, there's a whole list of customizable options here that can be gone over. In this next video, I'll talk about weak auras. Okay, once again, we're back at this groovy little AFK screen. I really dig that. I want to apologize for the choppiness of these videos. I don't quite have the horsepower to run both WoW and my screen capture software at the same time. So you can see even in game while I'm doing this, my FPS is suffering pretty dramatically. But anyway, I wanted to look at weak auras. Weak auras is an add-on that, again, is extremely customizable and will let you do and track anything that you can possibly imagine. This is my blood decay heads up. It'd probably be better if we engage in combat and we can see it. So I target the dummy here, and we can start casting some abilities. You notice that this is highlighted. That's telling me I have it set. For example, Blood Death Knights get a bone shield, and if it's above 5 stacks, it's green, and it has a timer. It shows as it ticks down. Now I'm below 5 stacks, so I need to recast that ability, and it highlights here. I set that up to highlight to let me know. My Death Strike is highlighted now. It shows me that I have enough runic power to cast it. Blood Boil is highlighted now because that buff has fallen off. This right here is a weak auras I created to let me know that, as you can see, it turns red. That's my Death and Decay tracker. When I'm standing in Death and Decay, it's green, indicating that I have the buff. If I move outside of it, it turns red, telling me that I don't have that buff. let's see. Also, Death Knights get an absorb shield, and that appears here. Every time I cast Death Strike, it will add to an absorb shield that Death Knights get, and that's what that is tracking there. You see it pop up again, and again, here's my bone shield stacks, letting me know I'm over 5. Yeah, there's my D&D tracker again. Now I'm out, back in, more bone shield. So yeah, and these can be, you can literally do just about anything you want with weak auras. In fact, let me exit combat here, and I will show you one of the things that I found online, which is a really neat interface with the, well, yeah, it is an interface. It's a WeakAura setup. It's what was it called? It's the Diablo theme. It's really cool. It's yeah, we'll load that now. So yeah, there's the Diablo theme, and let me disable these. Check that to not load, and check that to not load. So now we have this pretty Diablo theme thing. Oh, I got an error. This one does, I think I've got some things set incorrectly on it, and naturally I'd have to reposition my action bars for this particular theme, but this is just some of the things you can do in in WeakAuras. And this one shows the health. Here's my, this is my target health. It's let me exit out of that. Yeah, you can do, you can further customize your screen with WeakAuras to display all kinds of different trackers, however you like. Okay, I've switched over to Anduin to kind of give you another example of WeakAuras. You can see here, this is a WeakAuras over here on the right that shows whatever it is I've got targeted. Gives you this groovy little model, which is handy in raids if you need to see. You know, it helps to further identify what it is that you have targeted. Here I have the training dummy targeted, and let's just jump in with some abilities. You can see here, this is my focus bar, and it's red now, indicating that Bestial Wrath is up, and there's a counter that lets me know how much longer it's going to be up. And here we go, Beast Cleave is now available. I set this WeakAura to highlight multi-shot, and that only will display when Bestial Wrath is not up. It displays when Bestial Wrath is not up, and when I have sufficient focus to cast that multi-shot, which gives me that Beast Cleave ability, and my focus bar turns green to indicate that Beast Cleave is active, and there's a little timer that shows the time remaining on it. And you can see I've got my on Anduin, I have my nameplates placed a little differently. Let's exit out of this, and see if we can't exit combat here. Yeah. Another little WeakAura that I created is this little leaf you see in the bottom right of the mini-map. That lets me know that I'm out of combat. When I enter combat, my mini-map should, oh no, I removed that one, but it used to, my mini-map would have this red glow to it to let me know that I was in combat. And again, as soon as I exit combat here, everything should go away. Yep, it does, and my little out of combat indicator is highlighted again. Let's open WeakAuras and take a look. You can create a WeakAura to track buffs, debuffs, timers, abilities, spells, anything that you want to track, including boss abilities, boss debuffs, the whole 9 yards. So let's create. Let's just goof around here. We'll create a progress texture, and we'll go with the default. And you know what? I could use one that will track aspect of the wild. This will let me know when aspect of the wild is up, and we can change that to another texture. There's a list of textures. There's actually a library that is completely exhaustive. It contains all the different little spell animations that are in game, and you can use those however you like. You can choose to have a different one. I'll tell you what, let's do this. We'll make this a okay, we'll move that down here, and we are gonna have this active whenever I cast my aspect of the wild. So now aspect of the wild has been cast, and you can see this is just a real basic example. There's a tracker and it counts down, and when aspect of the wild is no longer active, it disappears. And you can do the same with you can create one to track your aspect of the cheetah or aspect of the turtle, or anything you want to track, any buff, debuff, spell, ability, raid, boss ability, buffs, debuffs. All those can be created in WeakAuras, and you can make them any number of different ways.